Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another collaboration here on YouTube. I, of course, am Jim with Wolf of Bricks, and I am so happy to be joined here with Haley again. Now, for those of you that don't know, Haley is a part of the Wolf Ambassador Network, or as I like to call, WAN. Haley, welcome back.
Thank you. Happy to be back.
So this is, of course, a series that we have started. And for those of you that may not have seen the first one, highly encourage you to check it out. A couple months ago, I was walking with my dog and I got a text message from Haley, and she had a wonderful idea. And she said something like, hey, I think we should do a 3-part series. This is the second one on just flat out Q4. We could talk about the prep. We could talk about what's going on in the middle of the season. And even though we're in December, I would still consider this the middle of the season because sometimes October doesn't start off as quickly as you might like it. And then, of course, we will have our post briefing of Q4 sometime in January. So that's where we're at. So before we talk about sales and how each other's business models have been, I was thinking it would probably be a good time to talk about the sales at the retail merchants, the online stores, the Targets, the Walmarts, the Lego shop at home. I have my answer, but I would love to hear your answer because we haven't even talked about this yet. What are your thoughts on the Lego sales online and in the stores?
They were trickily good. Like I was shocked at how good they were, when they were saying, all the ads of, oh, the best Black Friday sale ever. I'm like, yeah, sure. It'll be like all the really bad sets are going to be 20% off. It's just more sets than usual will be on sale. I really thought like all of the best discounts were going to be on the Insiders weekend because I know they do some of the better sets. Some of the sets that are not on discount as often will be some way discounted. Like you can buy a discount using your VIP or Insider points or whatever, right? They did that last year. And I got $100 off my Harry Potter train, my UCS Harry Potter train. But the Black Friday sales were insane. I really wish I had saved more money for that next week. I spent too much on the Insider weekend. I got some good deals, but nothing like the Black Friday. And really, I wish I didn't sleep.
Thank you.
So many good sales at what is it, 2:00 in the morning or something? And all the good sales were happening online. So you could do it from bed, but I didn't think to do that. And I was just, there's so many, but I don't know that I could have afforded to do, to do much more than I did as it is. But yeah, seriously good sales. I got some sets 80% off. The discount wasn't 80% off, but with the credit card points, it got to be 80% off. Yeah. And it was one set that I could get that way, but another one was 70% off using points and coupons. Target had $10 coupons. And yeah, I got some really, really good deals. So I'm excited for next year when they retire.
That's awesome. So if I had to contrast your answer to the answer that I have, I would mostly agree with you. I love your positivity. I think you used the word trickery. I definitely think that is very astute to talk about. There was at 2 a.m, there was the Architecture White House for $52. Give me a break. That was worse than the Lunar Lander going for 30% off at 4 a.m. Like, that's garbage. But congratulations to those people that got it. You're a better person than I am. I think this was definitely, compared to last year, a season where you definitely had to have patience for, right? I know there were some people that were talking about the big one that was going to go on sale, the $100 set that was not the Technic Batmobile, that would be 50% off, right? And so I've said this at some other place, not on this channel, but I almost feel like the executives at Walmart, when they had those $50 Technic sets, the Jeep Wrangler, the Shelby Cobra, and I think that Formula One car, they were all 50% off. And people, myself included, were complaining like, we want more, right? I kind of feel like the executives in the boardroom at Walmart, it was kind of like the movie Gladiator, whenever they're saying, are you not yet entertained? Because they're giving so much stuff, right? And I am going to mention this. This is the only time I'm going to mention this because I got a lot of text messages. I got some emails, and I know there are a few people that are wondering. I have news. I didn't get any Winnie the Poohs during that 50% off.
Yeah.
We had a very nice Patreon chat during that time. It was a 45-minute one. It was called a buying party, right? My goal was to have 60, right? Somebody said that the shopping cart max was 50. I was able to get 60 in my cart, but I had to keep on clicking it. I couldn't manually do it. And then I clicked the payment, the address, I confirmed I was getting ready to hit send. And then I heard a VIP member say they just went out of stock. And I was like, oh my gosh. And so I checked again. It allowed me to enter one in the cart, and I went to hit process, and it says I was not eligible. So my fault for being greedy, I guess. I probably should have tried to do blocks of 10, blocks of 15. But there were plenty of Patreon members that were able to get a copy of that. And I know other people too. And again, good for them. But that was out in less than 2 minutes. It was just like that. My kids' summer camp sells out in less than 7 minutes, but the Winnie the Pooh, they sold out in less than 2 minutes. It was just crazy. But I definitely think it was good. And I think what you said is a great point, that if you were very smart and knew what you were doing, you could make a killing using Rakuten and some of the other credit card points, other things like that. I mean, you really were printing money if you were utilizing all of your tools in that manner.
Oh yeah, Rakuten, we had 15% cash back one day. And yeah, that was on top of the discounts on lego.com. Lots of sets that were 30 to 40% off, and then the 15% cash back on top of it. So yeah, I definitely got some good deals there, and then the credit card point on top of that. So yeah, it adds up. I still have some boxes unopened from Black Friday.
Yeah, I got a couple too. I think I just opened the top a little bit just to confirm they were what they were, and that was it. But yeah, all kinds of good stuff whenever it came to sales and picking up inventory for Q4 next year, which honestly really isn't that far away. We are under 10 months for Q4 of next year, and that's just the way it is. All right, let's talk about sales of our personal businesses. How did that go for you?
You know, October was great for me, and I thought it was going to lead into better, because great for me is 3 or 4 sets selling a week, which I know is like barely anything. That's horrible for you, but that's great for me. And so I was getting, there was one week I sold 6 sets, and I was like, woo, December is going to be great. I haven't sold a single set since November 1st.
Oh, wow.
And I was actually holding off and didn't put all of my sets on because I didn't want to get anxious and start discounting them too much. So I was waiting, and then I finally put them on, and they're like long retired set. Like I have a Harry Potter's Beauxbaton's Arrival, right, with the Pegasus set. I've got 2 of those. I put those on. I was like, oh yeah, these are going to sell. Haven't gotten any bites at all. And then I have a Harry Potter's Brickheads that I thought it's a Voldemort and Bellatrix.
Oh, right.
And I thought that was going to be gone too, but and maybe if it was on Amazon, it would be gone, but on Mercari and eBay, they're just sitting there. And I'm not the highest, I'm not the lowest, but I'm toward the bottom. Yeah. to try and get because it's still double. For me, I'm like, if I get 200% ROI, I'm good. I'm out. I want to invest in something else. But yeah, so I'm not going below that. But yeah, I'm surprised that they're not selling at all.
Well, you got to stick to your guns, right? I mean, I look, and if that's a decision you make, I encourage you to stick with that decision, because I mean, there were times for me where I had expected the Eiffel Tower to have a higher price. And I'm talking about that $30 architecture Eiffel Tower. And it did not go up. Now, if there's any good news to it, 10 months later, when it was time to sell, I had a much higher ROI than what I would have if I would have sold it the year prior. And I was kind of in a position where I was like, listen, I think I've made the cash that I need to buy retired sets. We're just going to let that stick around. And I don't even want to say it sucks when that happens. I think that's just smart decision making, right? It's not like you're trying to liquidate a stinker that's barely moving. You have some good sets that you believe are good sets, and you're just going to let it ride. And that's the way it is.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like it's similar to picking stocks, and you're trying to gauge the market. You buy low, sell high, right? And sometimes you get the good ones, and sometimes you have to hold on to it a little longer before you cash out. Very similar to that. I've never done the day trading. In my master's program, I had to pretend to do day trading, but never actually did it with real cash. I pay somebody to take care of that for me, but yeah, it's interesting to get into it, and really, like you said, yeah, stick to your guns. But there are definitely times that I'm like, I'm going to cut my losses and move on. You know, after a few years, I'm good with cutting my losses. Losses being, you know, just barely getting over, you know, 100 ROI or something. But it's fun, but it is a lot of work. It's a lot more work. That's one thing that I wanted to definitely mention as my first Q4. Even though I haven't done a lot of sales, buying is a lot of work. Doing the research, knowing what you're doing, it takes research and effort, and I'm definitely glad to be a part of the Patreon, because there's so many sales I would have never known about without that group. So
if you don't mind, since you mentioned it, I want to put you on the spot. Give a non-sugar coated review. Do you like the Patreon?
I do like the Patreon. I think sometimes it is way above my pay grade, right? There's so many people that are investing a lot more money than I ever will. But those same people have learned lessons that now I don't have to learn. I can just get from them. And I made enough mistakes last year. I don't want to make any more. So learning from those people, even though they're like, oh, I'm buying 100 and maybe I'm only buying 2 of that set. I still, you know, I still benefit from their knowledge, and looking at it through a smaller lens, but still seeing what they're seeing.
Well, and I've said for the longest time, you have to start somewhere, right? I mean, when it comes to Lego, when it comes to starting a YouTube channel, right? You and I both know you have to start somewhere. You know, I don't expect myself to hit 100,000 subscribers anytime soon, probably not even in this decade. But whenever I do, and somebody comes up to me and they say that they just hit their 1,000, I mean, I'm going to high five them. That's something to celebrate, because you do have to start somewhere. Okay, so for me, we'll talk about my sales for this quarter. You said you had a great October. Well, I don't want to say I had a bad October, but it did not meet my expectations. And to be frank, I received a text from my partner at the warehouse. And guys, this is the way it is. This is the truth about reselling Lego. I received a text from my partner, I want to say around the end of October, maybe the 1st of November. And he said, okay, it's time to panic. And I said, and I'm not joking, this is the way it is, right? Not everything is insane when it comes to reselling Lego. And I said, what are you talking about? I thought he was talking about, you know, he got into a car wreck or something. He says, nothing's selling. We've only sold X amount of sets. And I said, wow, okay. I said, well, let's talk about that. Let's go to the fundamentals, because that's something that I am a huge fan of. And then 2 days later, he texts me and he says, everything is fine. I don't know why I reacted that way. And we were consistently, whenever he sent that text from that day on, we were consistently in the multiple $1,000s a day range, which it's good because you're making money, but it's also good because it's affirming the decisions that you've made 12 to 18 months prior. Now, it's not all puppy dogs and ice cream, right? We have the ATST Raiders, which I sold an ATST Raider on Amazon the other day for $75. Don't ask me how. The the check cleared, we shipped it, and we're not asking any questions. Hopefully, I could do that a couple more times. I don't expect to do that more than 5, but things are going well in the context of what my expectation was for the year. I thought that this year, when it comes to sales, would not be as good as the prior year. I targeted that we would still hit 6 figures, but we would probably be around $20,000 less than what we were the prior year. And it seems like that's where we're going. Now, when 2024 comes, I definitely think things will be better. I don't think it'll be hugely better. That would be great if it does, but it will be better than this year. And I definitely think Q4 2025 will be better than Q4 2024. And I will occasionally get the question, and I did a little bit of math before this show started. Last week, I had someone ask me, and this is probably the 6th time I've been asked this year. They said, when are you going to hit an overall $1 million in sales from the very beginning in 2012 to now? I'm estimating I'm probably around $150,000 away from hitting $1 million. So in a perfect world, that would be December of 2024. But if I had to guess, it would probably be sometime in 2025. If there's a strong January 2025, it might be then. But that's what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping, something that I could put in the face of those people that did not support me. They did not support people like you. I know whenever you made your first 1,000 or your first whatever, well, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but having talked to many, many, many resellers, there's a little bit of I told you so, even though they may not be saying that directly to those people. And it's a great feeling, right?
Yeah, definitely. I'm probably my biggest critic. So I'm doing the I told you so to myself.
Right.
But it does help. I mean, it helps with family and friends that worry, that I don't think I have enough of a following to have naysayers. But family and friends are like, what are you doing? So yeah, it definitely helps. I'm curious. So you were talking about, expecting 2024 and 2025 to be better. Is that just for the general rallying of the economy, or because the sales were so good this year that our profits will be better next year? Or what are your thoughts there?
I would probably say the first thing you said. Okay. I mean, unless we go to nuclear war, which I guess I'll be starting a new YouTube channel if that happens, because Lego will not be a part of World War III. But I do think things will get better when it comes to the economy. I do think that there are a lot of fly-by-night resellers that are getting out of the game. Is there anything specifically that you wanted to chat about more?
No, I think that's it for now. I'm just hopeful that I'll get a few more sales before the end of the year so I can really adjust my ROI. So right now, my biggest sales have been gift with purchases, right? Yeah. I have about $3,000 total sales. That's just to show you how small I am.
And that's God bless. I mean, God bless there, right? That's about my first year whenever I was reselling, and that's just the way it is. And hopefully, over time, it will just constantly be compounded, because I've said many times, I don't look at it as us reselling Lego. I'm looking at it as us multiplying money, right? And that's something that it's very difficult to find in other venues, right? So
yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I guess right now with the gift with purchases, because they're free, really, they're helping support the purchases that I hope to sell next year. So it did allow me to invest more this year than I had originally planned, because I did not incorporate or budget for the gift with purchase sales. It was just like, okay, this is how much I can spend this year on this investment. And then I put that money on top of it. So it did help increase the potential for next year.
Since we're talking about gift with purchase, do you have an opinion on which gift with purchase was the best for 2023?
I can tell you which one I sold for the most money.
Go for it.
I'm shocked about. The Star Wars May gift with purchase. I'm like, it's a bunch of little gray triangles,
Right.
and it sold for $70. I was surprised the Steamboat Willie did not get that high. The highest I sold that one for was 60. Same with the Disney 100. The highest I got was, I think, 58 for that one. So yeah, I was surprised that Star Wars. I mean, not surprised that Star Wars is the most popular, but that gift with purchase was just not that great. My fiance, who's a huge Star Wars Lego fan, he wants every Star Wars Lego set, was not interested in that. So I was like, oh, it's not going to do that well. So we didn't stockpile too much of it. But yeah, $70. And I saw some sell for more than that.
Yeah.
I think they're still selling for $60 to $70. And usually gift purchases, like they peak and then they valley. And that one hasn't valleyed.
Yeah.
So that's interesting.
Yeah, it's a cool set, and I understand why a lot of people like it. And I say this respectfully, but it's when it comes to the build, I think it's kind of a basic set, right? I mean, you could, if the bricks weren't gray and they were white, you could easily make an Epcot Center or something like that. So, all right, cool. So just to recap, this is part 2 of a 3-part series. The first one, I highly encourage you to check out. I'll even go ahead and put it somewhere right here, and you could take a look at that. We're going to have the third one sometime in the middle of January. That way the dust will have cleared, and we will have, hopefully, some questions answered, maybe an after-action review of how we could streamline our business a little bit more, and then just go from there. Any last closing thoughts, Haley?
No, I think that's it. I'm glad everyone joined, and look forward to hearing some comments and questions and how other people are doing.
Yeah, that would be great. If you have any insights of your own, go ahead and drop it in the comments section below. Once again, my name is Jim with Wolf of Bricks. Right there is Haley. Greatly appreciate having her come on. And as always, go out there and get it.